Why is it so black screen? Oh no. I'm gonna leave it because I feel like maybe people can see me this time.
Okay.
Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother Canada 12 Digital Daily Recap. Please, if you are in the chat, let me know if you can see/hear me because we are having some real technical difficulties today. And of course, it's on the day that we have so much to talk about. We have to catch up on 2 digital dailies, and they were both doozies. So, yeah. Okay, now I'm seeing that it just restarted again.
What we started?
The stream, it started counting again from the beginning.
No.
Is anyone out there?
I'm not getting anything, but
Can you guys see or hear me? Anyone? I feel like I'm in a black void right now. Hi, Hannah Banana. Can you see me? You can see me. You can see and hear me. Okay, good. So I guess we're just going to go with it then. Okay, good. I don't know if you guys heard my intro. I think this is like take 5. I'm so sorry, you guys. We are having tech issues today. Welcome to today's Big Brother Canada 12 Digital Daily Recap. It's a disaster. I think these tech issues are very apt for what we're going to be talking about today because it's a mess. It's very messy. Our house guests of the day are Patrice and Stephanie and Mike. Thank you all so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so, so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below because we really, really appreciate it. And before we get going, I also want to thank our super chatters from the other day because that's another fantastic way to support our channel. So Jefferson Tucker, Traval K, and Randall Westgard, thank you all so much for your super chats. Yeah, I am going to chalk this up to Vivek. I think this is his fault. Oh my goodness. Okay, we have a lot to discuss, so let's get into it. When we left off, Vivek was preparing for his nominations and he was planning to put up Bailey and Elijah. Bailey is his target. Boo. You already know how we feel about this. Like doing the majority alliance's dirty work. We hate it. It's lame. We also saw on the show that he did, in fact, follow through with those nominations. But then we had a little bit of hope. Maybe things might not be so cut and dry this week. I wrote this intro before I watched today's dailies. So, yeah, we saw the hot chocolate girlies don't want to lose Bailey this week. They feel like it would be good for them to have one girl like on the outside, basically not in their alliance, not in the know, so that they can hear what's going on the other side of the house. And it seemed like they were possibly willing to break up the director's alliance in order to keep her. They're all talking about how they feel like the directors, it's too big. We don't need Matthew and Elijah. Like, we don't need all that. So they were thinking, we're going to keep Bailey no matter what. But like, it's a totally different ball game now, y'all. It's a mess. So also, I'm doing this one solo today. Mom is good. She's just disgusted with the show. No, she just needed a break today, which is totally fine. And we figured because we have so much to get through, it's just easier if I blast through it. Okay, so let's talk about the first digital daily that we were given today. So this was supposed to be like March 22nd, but like the dates don't really match up with what they're titled anyway, so whatever. So this first one starts out pre-nominations, and we have Anthony, Spicy V, and Avery all chatting. And Spicy's like, all right, are we like okay with Bailey and Elijah as the 2 nominees this week? She says Vivek really wants my input on the nominations, so like we need to decide what I'm gonna say to him. Oh, because basically what I say could go, which is insane because this is actually true. Vivek is putting so much weight behind the advice that Spicy is giving him, Anthony, but like Spicy specifically, you're really going to get the majority of your advice from the person who put you on the block last week. Where is the logic in that? Like, I know things worked out for Vivek and he stayed last week, but you're really going to trust someone who put you on the block the week before. What are you doing? So Spicy V says the Hot Chocolate Alliance is number 1 for her, but she does say the directors, that alliance is becoming a problem. Not only is it like too big because it's got 7 people, but she says Lexus and Matt are getting too close. And this is something that we've heard a lot of the last few days. Um, she says Lexus is falling more and more in love with Matt every day, and she's giving him info. He is spilling said info. But Anthony's like, no, like, I don't think we need to worry about Matt. He's vouching for Matt. What a surprise, right? He's gonna vouch for Matt. He says Matt is not coming after any of us, and Matt doesn't even like Lexus that much. I think Matt does. But like Matt is downplaying it to Anthony. Anthony is also downplaying it. I think Anthony doesn't realize the extent to which Matt is into Lexus. Like when I see these two talking, they don't have a lot to say, but you can definitely tell they at least want to like bang. I don't know. But anyway, Spicy and Avery are worried that if it came down to it, that Lexus would pick Matt over any of the rest of their alliance. Anthony's like, all right, well, I'll keep an eye on it. We'll see. Sure. You know that Anthony wants to keep Matt around for as long as possible because Matt is a shield for him. Matt, Tola, these two buff dudes, like they're both shields for Anthony. So he does not want to lose them anytime soon. But Spicy again is saying, we can basically choose who Vivek is going to put up on the block. And again, unfortunately, yes, that is true. So they need to lock down what they want to see happen. So then Dennis and Spicy are chatting in the car and they're talking about working together with Vivek and Kayla, blah, blah, blah. Because this is an alliance that was discussed what was it, like the end of last week as a possibility. So they're still like kicking around that idea, but it hasn't really been solidified yet from what we've seen. So Dennis brings up, all right, if we're not going to go for Anthony, we should at least be targeting someone close to him. And this is very similar to what he was saying in that conversation that we saw between him and Vivek on the episode that wasn't in the dailies. We got to go for somebody close to Anthony. Right? The end goal target is Anthony if somebody has the guts to do it. But until then, we need to take out somebody close to him. So Dennis says, I'm not going to lie. It really bothered me that Vivek took Matt to Wendy's. And he's like, I'm assuming that wasn't like a goodbye meal. You are assuming correctly. Dennis is really worried that a guys' alliance could be forming. He's heard rumblings of it. I mean, he's heard that Vivek himself is the one who's trying to put this together. And I do believe that is true. Blech. So Spicy V agrees. She says Vivek desperately wants to work with the boys, right? He's wanted it from the beginning. We have seen it come up over and over again. And at first, I was like, yes. Then there was a little while where I was like, no, he's going to target Anthony eventually. Like, it's going to be a thing. But now it's very clear that he is so thirsty to have some sort of bro alliance. So Spicy brings up how Vivek was crying with Anthony the other day. And I don't think this was even the clip that we saw in the dailies the other day where Vivek was like, I love my mom. And Anthony was like, I know. I think this was a whole other crying conversation. Spicy admits that Anthony was the one who threw Vivek under the bus to her last week. She just openly admits that in front of Dennis. And she says Anthony can't be trusted. It's just funny to me, too, that she's like throwing this info out there when we saw last week that Vivek was like, you know what? I do think that Anthony was the one who threw me under the bus. And now all of a sudden he's forgotten all about that. He wants to work with Anthony. Like, it's not a thing anymore, which it definitely should be. And also, if only Spicy actually believed that Anthony can't be trusted. But unfortunately, she is fully with Anthony. So Dennis says, I honestly think Anthony is emotionally manipulating some of these guys. I would have to agree with that. I mean, anytime he sees one of these guys crying, he goes over and he's talking to them, crying with them. And the skeptic in me does feel like he's using that to get closer to them and be like, we're boys. Yeah. Real men cry. Like, you're my boy, which real men do cry, but like, he's really playing this up. So then Dennis again is saying, like, could we at least get Tola up on the block? That would at least make these nominations more balanced. He does not want Bailey to go. He thinks it's really lame to have Elijah on the block next to her because then it's just like, all right, well, Bailey's definitely leaving. So he would like to see, even if Bailey does go up, like Bailey and Tola. So there is a chance for her to potentially stay. And Spicy's like, no, he's not going to do it because if Vivek puts Tola up on the block, he will be crossing Anthony and Matt, and he does not want to do that. So Dennis is like, please just humor me, like join me in pushing for Tola to go up when you talk to Vivek, because Vivek does want to hear your opinion. He values your opinion. All right. So she acts like she's going to do it. But then Spicy talks to Vivek, and she does not push Tola as a potential nominee. It's interesting because in this conversation, even though Vivek is the HOH, he is kissing Spicy's ass like she's the HOH. It's wild to see. He's like, I trust you. Like, I want to hear what you have to say, blah, blah, blah. Spicy's like, all right, well, I know that you're close with Dennis, but I need you to know that he would not have used the power of veto on you last week if he knew who I was really putting up. Like, if he knew that it was going to be Donna, he would have left you up on the block. The only reason he used it is because he thought that like Matthew, Tola, or Anthony were going up, and he knew that that would be good for his game. So like, don't get it twisted. Don't think that he is like super close to you and wants to work with you, which like, this is going to be pushed over and over again to Vivek. And it's just the way that everybody basically uses the same wording of it as well. You would think that this would be a red flag to Vivek, like, oh, a lot of these people have the same agenda and they're using the same talking points. Like, why are they all bringing this to me now? But he doesn't seem to be putting those pieces together. So then during their conversation, we cut to Lexus and Matt cuddling in one of the bedrooms. Todd is in there too, so it's like kind of awkward. Lexus is basically begging for a kiss from Matt. She's like, I'm going to get you to crack. Like, you're going to kiss me before either of us win HOH. Because I guess he was saying, like, it's not going to happen until they have the HOH room. He is resisting, and Lexus is looking real thirsty. Yikes. Before we continue, I want to thank Lady Di. Thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it. And this is actually, Lady Di's first super chat on a live stream. Thank you so much. Love it. Okay. So then we have the nomination ceremony, which we already saw on the show, but whatever. So Bailey and Elijah are up on the block. And after the ceremony, Bailey seems pretty confident that she's going to be able to get the votes or even win the power of veto and take herself down. So she's feeling good about it. She's not like all over the place right now. So then Vivek and Matt are chatting in the HOH room. And Vivek says, I'm kind of getting a bad feeling here. I feel like maybe Elijah's going to get evicted this week. He's saying, I think Bailey might be able to get the votes to stay. Did you not think about this before? Did you not consider she could get the votes before you decided you're going to put her up? Like, I feel like that's something you should probably think about. But he feels like if he's looking at the numbers, Dennis, Todd, Avery, those three for sure are going to be voting for Bailey to stay. She's also going to be trying to get Spicy V, Lexus, Kayla, and she's only going to need 2 of them to make this happen, right? You need 5 votes to stay. And Vivek says, Matt, can you like please work on Lexus, lock her in to vote to evict Bailey? Because he says, I really need Bailey to go this week. And he's like actually thinking the girls are not going to vote together. Okay. But Matt's like, well, what if Elijah comes down with the power of veto and then you put up another girl so that they have to choose, amongst themselves? Boo! Leave it to Matt to bring up something like this. Matt cannot wait to get all the girls up on the block except for Lexus. So Vivek says, I don't really want to get that much blood on my hands. I don't want to have to put up another person if, unless it's totally necessary. So they leave it there. All right. The next morning, Matt is chatting with Kayla and Avery, and Matt says, I think we can get Vivek to put Dennis up on the block if the POV is used. So I remember, I think it was Spicy mentioning this the other day about like pushing for Dennis to go up, and I was like, no freaking way. But the more these digital dailies went on, I think I underestimated just how naive Vivek is. Like, I knew, as Todd said, he's a dick rider. Like, he's gonna go along with the all-stars and the guys and whatever they want, but like, woo, I didn't realize it was gonna be to this extent. So Matt says, I don't think Vivek has a backdoor plan right now because he promised everyone safety. So, like, he has no idea what he's going to do if Bailey or Elijah come off the block. And Avery's like, okay, cool, but I don't think Vivek would actually put Dennis up. I mean, Dennis used the veto just last week to save Vivek. And Matt's like, yeah, but Vivek wants to be, all he wants is to be good with the guys and the girls. More so the guys. He says if we all push for Dennis, if we're all telling Vivek that we want Dennis out, he's gonna feel like he'll be good with everyone moving forward. That's exactly what he wants. So Matt says, if we can actually pull this off, if we can get Dennis out this week, or really anybody outside of our alliance during a non-director HOH, that's going to be huge because then going into next week, we will have 7 out of 10 people playing for HOH. There's going to be 11 people left, but 10 playing for HOH. So we'll have 7 out of those 10 from our alliance. Great. We love to watch a steamroll. It's so exciting. Oh my God, I love it. Blech. All right. So then they had the POV player picks. So we have the 2 nominees, Bailey and Elijah. And then we have the 3 extra players who are Kayla, Dennis, and Anthony. So after these picks, Bailey is saying, it's really the best case scenario if Kayla wins this and saves me, because then we'll both be safe. We don't have to worry about her going up on the block. Avery has safety for the week. So she feels like the girls are going to be good because Spicy, while she doesn't have like safety or anything, she feels like Vivek is not going to want to put her up. Lexus, I don't know, whatever. Does she really care about Lexus? Who knows? But anyway, when Spicy is talking to Kayla and Avery, Spicy says, I think we need the nominations to stay the same because while she is still planning to keep Bailey this week, she's nervous that if somebody were to come down, she could be the one going up since she did put Vivek up on the block last week, even though he seems to have forgotten that. I don't know. It seems like it doesn't really matter to him, but she's pretty nervous that, she could be a backdoor target. So then Spicy was talking again with Kayla and Avery about how Lexus and Matt are just getting too close. And she shares with Kayla how I guess Kayla and Matt hugged the other day, and Spicy observed that Lexus was all like not happy about it. So she shares that with Kayla. And it's just another example of how Spicy has to like constantly be throwing the girls under the bus to each other. Like, you didn't have to tell her that. You could have kept that to yourself, but no. All right. So then Vivek and Dennis have a chat. And Vivek is like, all right, you're playing in the veto. If you win, I have to ask, can you please leave the nominations the same? And he also brings up, if you do win this, that's going to be 3 vetoes out of 3. So the target is just going to be humongous on you if you win a 3rd time, basically being like, maybe throw this one. So Dennis says, I have to be real with you. I feel like you're missing the bigger picture here. You are not in trouble with Bailey. And I believe this is the conversation that we saw on the episode last night that we didn't see in the digital dailies before. So they're putting this out of order because this happened after nominations. But if it is the conversation I'm thinking of, they showed it in the show that it was before. So like whatever, we're all over the place time wise. But we do get to see more of this convo. And Dennis says, I know I'm already a target, right? So maybe I will just go for the veto, whatever. I feel like I'm safe this week since you're HOH. He says Bailey would be good for your game. She would be a shield in front of you. You can repair that relationship. He says, honestly, it would make more sense for you to go after Tola. Take away one of Anthony's numbers. So Dennis is asking, who would you put up if the veto is used? And Vivek says, it'd probably be a girl. Pathetic. I think he was leaning towards Lexus at that point. Dennis says, oh, I just want you to know you're going to be in the doghouse forever with these people, no matter what you do. You've already had your issues. Of course, it seems like you've done good work, like making amends with people, but you're always going to be in that danger zone. It's going to be easy for people to just put you up. Correct. And he's like, I got to be honest with you. I don't think you have the votes to take out Bailey. So you may as well replace her and take out a different target. But Vivek is adamant. He thinks he has the votes. Nobody can tell him anything. He's like, no, I have the votes. Like, I'm doing this. We're getting Bailey out. Dennis is speaking the truth here, but Vivek is not taking any of it in. And I have to say, this conversation was very tense. Vivek was getting some tough love from Daddy Dennis, and he wasn't liking it. But Vivek says, if I do what the house wants, I will be good with everyone, and they won't put me up moving forward. No, you're just doing their dirty work. And maybe it buys you a week or two. You'll be good with everybody. But then the second they don't need you anymore, or they're trying to save their own asses, they're throwing you in the trash. So Dennis says, if Bailey does go, I'm going to go rogue and I'm going to work with Anthony to take everyone out. What? Where did this come from? I guess he means he would be so pissed and not want to work with anyone that he would just go with Anthony, who he's currently targeting, and just like go on a rampage. But a minute later, Dennis apologizes. He's like, you know what? I realized that sounded like a threat. I'm sorry I said that. Oops. But that was a lot. So at the end of this conversation, Dennis does say that he's going to throw the POV comp. Oh no. I don't know if he actually did end up throwing it or if he just lost. But if he did throw that and he could have won, that's freaking wild. K Diggs 2, thank you so much for the super chat. And they asked, Spicy V or Messy V? SMH. I know, right? She is a mess. Honestly, I just don't understand though how she's getting away with it. Like, that says more about the other house guests to me than it does about her, because you would think that she would become such a huge target acting the way she does, but no. Anyway, Anthony and Vivek have a chat, and Vivek's like, Anthony, what do I do if one of the nominations comes down? What do I do? One of the nominees. He's trying to figure it out, aka ask Anthony. So Anthony brings up that people want Dennis out, mainly him. And he says, just so you know, Dennis did not use the veto last week to save you. It was to help his own game. And again, this should be a huge red flag that this is the same point that was being pushed by Spicy, the other all-star. It should remind you, hey, these two are working together. Maybe I shouldn't trust them. Maybe I should trust the person who did save me last week and it, like, was with me at my lowest and is actually like loyal to me. So anyway, Vivek says, well, I'm not going to put Dennis up on the block. He was saying that for a while. Okay. So then Spicy chats with Vivek, and she's continuing to plant seeds about Dennis, anti-Dennis seeds. She says Dennis is rubbing people the wrong way, and you have to realize when people do target Dennis, they're probably going to put you up on the block next to him, since you two are close. And Dennis has proven that he's a strong competitor. So if he wins the veto, then what? You're up on the block and this big target is no longer next to you. So you could be in trouble there. So she's, again, trying to plant those seeds. Like, maybe you should think about Dennis going up. So then we got a lamb chop show going on over there. So let's talk about the second digital daily from today. This one was labeled as March 24th. It actually started on the 22nd. And it starts right after the POV competition. And we find out that Kayla won the power veto. Bowie, come here. So she's celebrating with Bailey. Bailey is so excited because she's like, oh my God, Kayla's going to use it on me. This is awesome. And Bailey says Vivek is sweating right now. And it also sounds like Kayla won $5,000. So good for her. Get that coin. So then we have Anthony and Matt chatting. And Anthony's like, you know what? I think we can really get Vivek to put Dennis up on the block. And he says, I need Kayla to seal the deal, right? Kayla is the POV winner. We need her to make some moves here. So Anthony's pumped. He's like, all right, we get to keep Elijah, who's in our Directors Alliance. We keep Bailey, who could be a number for us moving forward. Anthony says, the thing about Bailey, though, we need to pull her away from the girls. If we can get her to be more loyal to us than she is to them, that's perfection. And honestly, as pro girl as Bailey is, it is astounding to me how she is suddenly so attached to Anthony again, because I feel like every 5 seconds that Bailey is on the screen, she's like, "Oh, Anthony like really has my back. Like we're good. He's got me. Like we're going to be good." What? Why would you think that? No. But anyway, she is fully in the mist again. So Matt says, well, Alexis wants a final four with the two of us and Spicy V. I hate that. I hate that final four so much. I don't want it. Matt says it really wasn't sitting right with him that Avery was so ready to cut Elijah loose and dismantle the Directors Alliance just to keep Bailey. And I mean, yeah, it's kind of a bad look that Avery was so openly pushing that in front of Matt. I think that's a mistake on her part. So yeah, Matt is not super happy with Avery at this point. But let's talk about Vivek again. Vivek is on another planet. He is talking to Anthony at one point, and Vivek is convinced that Spicy V is on board to vote out Bailey. He's like, I got Spicy, I got all the votes I need to pull this off. No. And he thinks that Spicy, not only is she voting out Bailey, but she's working hard to convince Kayla to keep the nominations the same. That's also a no. She would like to see Kayla use this veto. So Anthony says, all right, Vivek, you need to have some conversations with people. You need to let them know that there is a disconnect between you and Dennis, because everyone wants to put Dennis up moving forward if they win HOH. So again, he's pushing the same stuff that Spicy's been pushing. You're going to be up on the block next to him. And Vivek's like, wait, everybody? Like the guys too? Or just the girls? Well, Anthony says, it's everybody. Okay. So Anthony is pushing Dennis's true intentions with the POV last week. He didn't want to save you. He's trying to better his own game, blah, blah, blah. Same talking points. Red flag. But Vivek is saying, no, I still want Bailey out this week. I think we can pull this off. Okay. So then Vivek and Dennis chat. And this is interesting because Vivek spills to Dennis that Anthony wants him out. He's like, I know, you've had your suspicions that Anthony is talking about you. And he's like, I want you to know, yes, that's true. And Vivek says, well, you need to win HOH next week or you're going to be in trouble. So he's letting him know that Anthony is throwing his name out there. And this is only making Dennis feel more frustrated, in my opinion, because he's like, hello, can you see what's happening? Why are you so close to Anthony when he clearly wants me out? So Vivek's like, well, Dougie's a really smart player. He gets so much information. They're trying to figure out where exactly Anthony's getting all of his info from. They're thinking maybe it's maybe Kayla, maybe Avery. Hello, you had it figured out last week that Spicy V is working with him. Why are you pushing that away and forgetting that you figured that out already? Why are you acting like that's not a thing? I don't get it. But Dennis says the reason that Anthony wants me out is because he knows I don't need him in this game. And I think that's pretty spot on, right? He knows that he can't control Dennis. He knows that Dennis is after him. So, of course, he's going to want Dennis out. He says, Anthony is going to try and get information from you, so please don't give him anything. It's too late for that. But Dennis is one of the few people who is not under Anthony's spell at this point. I also have to mention, I did not take notes on this one conversation, but there was one between Dennis and Vivek where Vivek was trying to get info from Dennis, and Dennis was like, no, like, we don't see eye to eye this week. You're the HOH. I'm just a game player at this point. And he was basically saying, like, I'm not giving you extra info this week because I don't want you to then take that and, like, have to use it or whatever. So he was definitely, like, withholding stuff. which is an interesting strategy, probably not a good one. And basically saying like we are not on the same page this week, which it sucks, but we're going to get through it. We're going to work together after this, and Vivek seemed to be on board with that plan. But Dennis was basically like, I'm not giving you info. Like I have to look out for my own game. And this I don't think was helping his case. Definitely not a good move on his part. I'm not saying that Dennis is to blame for what's coming, but this definitely did not help. Yeah, so then Spicy and Anthony have a check-in, and Anthony's like, here's what needs to happen. Everyone needs to go to Vivek individually and tell him that they want Dennis out, because Vivek needs to feel like everyone is on board with this plan in order for it to happen. He wants to feel protected. So really, we need to push to him that getting rid of Dennis is going to get the least amount of blood on his hands. And unfortunately, like that's exactly what Vivek wants to hear. So Kayla gets some coaching from Anthony and Spicy V about what to say to Vivek, because Vivek is waiting to talk to her. She's the POV holder this week. So they're telling her, you need to be straight with him. Tell him you're definitely using that POV, because he has been very stubborn about, Bailey's going to stay up on the block. We're voting her out. We have the votes. And they're trying to tell him, like, no, that's not what it is. So Kayla is like really having some anxiety about this conversation. And I have to say, it seemed like she was like talking to her two parents here, and they're like trying to hype her up and tell her what to do. But Kayla is also just really uncomfortable about the idea of pushing Dennis as the target without her mommy and daddy in on the conversation with Vivek. So they're like coming up with this plan, like, okay, you're going to talk to him first, and then Spicy's going to come in, and then Anthony's going to come in, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so eventually Kayla and Vivek do chat, and they're talking first about making a 4-person alliance with the two of them, Spicy V and Anthony. And Anthony had already initiated this the day before. They had already been talking about forming something, and the 4 of them did get together and be like, okay, we like this. I F with you. Like that's the phrase now, like I F with you so hard. um, and they agreed they were going to talk about this more later. So this is later, right? It's happening now. So Vivek's like, this alliance is going to be so great. We're going to be covered on all sides of the house. Yay, love it. Mm-hmm. All right. So then they're talking about the POV situation this week. And Vivek is saying, I still want nominations to stay the same. I do not want more blood on my hands. I don't want to have to put someone else up. And he says that he's fine with Elijah going. Like, even if the votes are not there to take out Bailey, if Elijah goes, it's whatever. Do I actually think he's okay with that? No. I think he's convinced that he has the votes to take out Bailey. But anyway, that's what he's saying. Kayla says, Bailey's not going to trust me if I don't use the veto on her. So we don't get to see the rest of this conversation. I think it got cut off, but basically Kayla reports back to Anthony and Spicy, and she's like, we got a problem, because Vivek is convinced that you two want Bailey out. So he thinks that I am like going against all of you by wanting to use the veto. So like, we need to fix this. And Spicy's like, no, you just need to tell him straight up that you are using this veto. So then Spicy, Kayla, Anthony, they all go talk to Vivek. Of course, they file in one at a time as planned. And they are basically triple teaming Vivek, right? Trying to push through this plan. Anthony says, I need you to know Dennis only does what's best for him. And this argument always cracks me up, because, like, hello, only one person can win this game. Everybody should be playing the game for themselves, right? It's so annoying. But he says, Dennis is only here for himself. He doesn't care about you. Excuse me. He saved Vivek with the veto last week. I don't care what you were saying his intentions are. The fact is, he still saved Vivek with the veto. He did not have to do that. And it's just hilarious when they're like, oh, it didn't mean what you think it means, when Spicy V literally was the one who put Vivek up on the block. But again, nobody is talking about that. What? So the three, Spicy, Anthony, and Kayla, they're all telling Vivek it's only because he thought one of the guys was going up. Donna was his number one, not you. So he would not have used the veto if he knew that Donna was going to be the replacement. Also, they bring up how Dennis is supposed to be so close to Vivek, but here he is campaigning for Bailey to stay, even though he knows that Bailey is Vivek's target this week. So at first, Vivek is not open to this. He's like, no, I can't put Dennis up. But after a while, they eventually wear him down. He's like, I trust you guys. Like, it's Big Brother. And apparently, the plan is on for Kayla to use the veto and for Vivek to put Dennis up on the block. So I believe there was also an element to this plan of like, if it came up, they were going to say that Todd was going to be the replacement nominee, but like, it's really going to be Dennis. Okay. So later, Vivek lets Bailey know she's going to be saved with the POV. No thanks to you. You didn't want that to happen, but he's all like, yeah, it's great. And then we have the morning of the POV ceremony. Todd and Dennis are chatting, and Todd is pretty sure that this veto is going to be used. Bailey is very calm. He says if Bailey thought that the noms were going to stay the same, she'd be freaking out right now. Todd is worried that he's going to go up as the replacement nominee, and Dennis is like, I'll be shocked if that veto is used. And he says, if it is used, I'm going to freak out and I'm going to blow up everyone's games. He doesn't even realize at this point that, yes, it is happening. The veto is going to be used, and he's going to be the one going up. Oh my God. So he's just going to freak out if the veto's used at all. Imagine what he's going to do when he realizes that it's him. But, oh my God, you need to trust Todd's intuition. Todd sees what's going on, but Dennis doesn't want to hear it. So then we see the very end of the POV ceremony as they've been doing. And Kayla used the POV on Bailey. And guess who's sitting on the block next to Elijah? It's Dennis. And Dennis, he looks shocked. He is just sitting there like this. And he is staring at Vivek for a bit. And Vivek's all like, he's like making his sad eyes at Dennis. I would just be like, don't effing look at me. But Vivek asks Dennis, would you like to chat? I hated the vibes here. So they go to the trophy room, and Dennis is pretty heated. He's pissed, and rightly so. He should be. And Dennis asks Vivek, why? Why did you put me up on the block? Like, what is going on? He says, Dougie must have gotten to you. And Vivek's like, no, it was other people too. Like, everyone wanted you out. I had to put my emotions aside and I had to do this. So Dennis starts yelling. He's like, I saved you last week. You're going to be gone next week. I was a shield for you. Like, you're not going to last in here without me in front of you. And Dennis says he's going to burn down this house. Talking heads. Oh my God. It also, I'm not going to get into it. Never mind. It reminds me of a story about my friend, but I'm not going to get into it right now. Yes, Mom, you'll know what I'm talking about. So Dennis tells Vivek, you killed my game. I have waited for 10 years to get on the show. It's week 3. Like, I can't believe this is how my story is going to end here. And you know, I have no chance to stay. Like, these people, apparently they all want me out. No one's going to vote for me to stay. And he says, I don't regret a lot of things in life, but I regret taking you off the block. Woo! So Anthony comes in. Oh, my husband, thank you so much. Yeah, you go, girl. So, yeah, Anthony comes in, and Dennis says everyone was on board with taking you out. Like, I don't know what's going on here. And Anthony's like, no, not everyone. You were the one leading the charge. You pitched me to the wrong person. And he's like, I'm here to comfort Vivek, right? I'm here to have his back. And Dennis is like, well, I don't want to talk to you right now, so get out of here. So Anthony does leave. And I have to really, I feel bad for Dennis for many reasons, but one of them is because eventually he is going to have to talk to Anthony, and Anthony is going to be so condescending talking to Dennis and like telling him, this is how you play the game. This is how you don't play the game. Like, blah, blah, blah. You came for me. It's just going to be exhausting, and I'm not looking forward to it. But anyway, Dennis is like, wow, I should have listened to Todd. Yep. Everyone should listen to Todd. He's frustrated that no one sees what Anthony is doing at this point. He says, none of you are going to win. You're not even gonna get second place. You're gonna get third place behind the two all-stars. And Vivek's like, well, this is the best thing for my game. Like, I'm not gonna go next week. Everyone wants this. Like, I'm gonna be good. And Dennis is like, no, you're gonna be here for like a few more weeks max. Woo! Okay, so then we've got a bro celebration. Anthony, Matt, and Tola are celebrating outside. I mean, they're like punching the air. They're doing bro hugs. Lexus and Bailey are also there. Great. And Spicy and Todd come outside. And it sounds like they actually looped Todd in on the plan beforehand. Todd, please stay away from them. Like, don't get involved with them. If Dennis does go, Todd is like our last hope. And I'm just so worried. So, yeah, we see their celebration outside. They're like, I can't believe that just happened. Oh my God. Hello, if you are one of these people in the backyard and you're seeing basically what Anthony and Spicy just pulled off, let this be a sign to you. Maybe you should target them if you come into power. Will this happen? I have my doubts. So we go back to Dennis and Vivek, who are still talking in the trophy room, and Dennis calls Vivek the betrayer. He's like, "You're going to be remembered as the betrayer." Yeah, that I can think of a few other words that I'm going to remember Vivek as. Most of them are not really appropriate for this stream. But Vivek says, I still love you very much. And when you're ready to talk on a personal level, I'll be great. So then Vivek is crying in the HOH room. Spicy and Avery are comforting him. They're like, no, this is a smart, logical move. You're going to feel free after he walks out the door on Wednesday. Like, this is what you needed to do for your game. This is the same thing that Spicy went through with Donna last week. Yeah, and that was also a mistake. So that doesn't make this not a mistake. But yeah, they're trying to pump him up. And then Dennis was talking to Todd and he was like, wow, I should have listened to you. Like, this is awful. And it's just not looking good for Dennis at this point. So that's where we're at now. Benjamin, thank you so much for the super chat. Benjamin says Vivek is the worst. Does he not realize that people will now know that he's willing to sell out his number one after he used the veto on him? V's word is trash, garbage, bin. I agree. This is not a good look for Vivek. And again, while it might buy him 1 or 2 weeks of safety, this is not like a game-winning move like he thinks it is. He thinks that he is going to the Final Four with Spicy, Anthony, and Kayla. He thinks he's freaking set with this new alliance that he has, but like, they got other things that are more important, and you're not a part of it. So, yeah, I think it's a really big mistake on his part. And honestly, I'm excited to see his downfall. Is that wrong? I don't know. It's going to be really satisfying to see when he is evicted. But anyway, I have a feeling this is not going to end well for Dennis this week. But I'm excited to see him potentially like blow up this house and burn it down. I'm curious to see what he's going to say because I'm sure he's got info to spill, games to try and potentially wreck. Like, let's get it. So I want to thank you all so much for watching. I'm sorry we had the tech issues earlier. It's such a pain in the butt. I want to thank again our super chatters today, Lady Di, K Diggs 2, my husband, and Benjamin. Thank you all so much. And we'll be back tomorrow for more. We'll see where this dumpster fire of a week takes us. And until next time, much love. Bye. Have a good night. Bye, everybody.